So today's question is, what is the Deming cycle and how does it apply to modern quality improvement? Hi, my name is Dr. Charles Freeman, and this is the Professor Chuck YouTube channel. And today we're going to tackle a very near and dear to my heart process that Deming created. And it's called the Deming Cycle. Plan, do, study, act. Right? It's a process that flows and then continues up again. So what is plan, do, study, act? Think of it as a process to improve processes. Right? If you have a problem that you're trying to tackle, this is a method to approach that problem-solving process with a pre-designed format. Let's go through the steps together on what Deming was advocating for, and if you pay close attention, I'll get into this a little bit later, there's actually some controversy around this model as well. So Deming first introduced this model during his time in Japan in the early 1950s. See my other video that goes into the history of Japanese terminology and Deming's background. I'll have the link below, it's fantastic. But let's talk about his actual process here. So the plan stage. I cannot emphasize this enough. This is critically important here. The plan stage is probably one of the most important elements to this entire cycle from my viewpoint. And it is usually the most overlooked when people just try to solve problems. I've seen this in quality improvement where the person who the problem is brought to could be the quality control manager, could be the operations person, it could be the operator themselves. They see the problem and they automatically think, I know the solution, let me go fix it. What Deming is advocating for here, and again, I firmly believe this, is it usually is better if you have the time to put the brakes on, to slow down that first instinct to go solve it right away. The planning stage is one where you're gathering data. You're gathering the context of the problem. You're really trying to determine what is the problem you're trying to solve. And as you're going through that piece of slowing down, asking those right questions that could put you on the right track, that's going to put save you a lot of time as you go through the rest of the steps here. A little side note, my father, he had a saying that if you ask the right question, you are 85% of the way to solving the problem. And while I don't know that the statistics work perfectly all the time, the nature and the heart of that particular saying, it resonates with me, right? And it resonates here as well, that if you ask the right questions, it's gonna help you solve the right problem. All right, so planning, pretty straightforward. We know what we're doing there. Let's get into the next step. Do. Now the do phase. That sounds funny, the do phase. But the do phase is, think of it like prototyping. We're going to take action, but we're going to take action on a very small scale. If you're making products, it is prototyping. You're going to do a small run of your product so that you can test the concepts that came out in the planning phase. If you're in the service industry, think about coming up with a new service idea, concept for McDonald's, right? You're not going to create something and then launch it globally overnight. No, you're gonna go through and you're gonna prototype this service on a small scale, work out all the bugs, and then blow it out later, right? Take it to everyone else. This is the next step. Very important here. So in the do phase, we're creating something on a small scale. Services, products, both. The next step is the study phase. We are going to look and see from the planning, the concepts that we've created, to the actions that we've taken so far. We're going to look at those results. We're going to study them. We're going to do statistical analysis to see, is it giving us the results that we intended in the first place? Finally, I say finally, it's not really finally. But we get to the act phase where we roll out our process improvement on a large scale. It is a cycle, so after ACT, we're right back to the planning phase again for our next improvement. One of the key elements of quality improvement is continuous improvement. I cannot emphasize this enough. There is no finish line. We're going to get improvements, we're going to feel proud about them, it's going to get us where we need to go to, but we're not done. As soon as we're done on that action side, now we're planning our next improvement. I promised you earlier controversy, right? It has to do with this. One of the things I found interesting is I started teaching this process, right, the Deming Cycle, about 5 years ago. And the first textbook I picked up, I saw the PDSA. And I had learned about the Deming Cycle in the field initially. So I thought it was a typo because what I had known was plan, do, check, act. Not too much difference. You think of vocabulary-wise, plan, do, study, right? The study piece of it versus the checking side of it, checking your results. I didn't think too much of it. I looked into it a little bit further and have since discovered the controversy. Deming himself, he was an advocate for the plan, do, study, act. He felt that this was an abomination, the plan, do, check, act. The word he described check, in the English language as being a stop in the process, that it's you're checking, so you're going to stop the process, stop the flow, and look at results, and then move to the next step. He saw this as a flow all the time. Again, going back to his original cycle that he had derived from somewhat of Walter Schuert's works. When he put this together, this interpretation of check, act, he fought against that in basically until the end of his life. So through the 80s into the 90s, anyone who was saying plan, do, check, act, he was advocating to correct that. Again, to honor him, I think it's important here that we look at that study of what that means and the application of improvement. Again, you're facing a problem, you've got something at work, you've got something at life, you've got a flow and a process, you want to improve it, the application from Deming could be your solution. If you want me to continue on with these things, please do me that big favor. Hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell as well. It's going to help me continue on doing these things, and I look forward to seeing you next time.